Welcome back as we talk about even more games with kick-ass female leads that you totally need to play. Now I put links to any full reviews in the description. Give those a look if you want a deeper dive. Okay, let's jump in. Up first is Housemarque's most successful title to date with Returnal. Released in 2021, Returnal is a bold, challenging roguelike third-person shooter that blends fast-paced bullet hell combat with a haunting psychological sci-fi story. You step into the mystery-laden shoes of Celine, an astronaut trapped on an alien planet, forced to relive her death repeatedly while uncovering the dark secrets of her past. It's like Groundhog Day, where Puxatawny Phil wants to end you in the most brutal way possible. The intense, adrenaline-fueled combat is an absolute highlight, where you're constantly on the move, dodging and adapting to swarms of enemies firing endless waves of projectiles. As a roguelike, each death resets your progress, but you retain key upgrades and knowledge of the environment, pushing you to learn and improve with each run. I really dug the use of the DualSense features, from the adaptive triggers to the haptic feedback, adding to the immersion, making each shot and dash feel impactful. While its high difficulty and lack of manual saving may frustrate some, for those who embrace its roguelike mechanics and psychological depth, Returnal is a masterfully crafted, immersive journey that rewards perseverance and skill. Next up is a bit of a guilty pleasure with Golden Axe Beast Rider. Released in 2008, Golden Axe Beast Rider is a reimagining of Sega's classic arcade beat-em-up series. Developed by Secret Level, this hack-and-slash adventure focuses on Tyrese Flair, a fierce Amazon warrior, as she embarks on a quest to avenge her tribe and defeat the evil Death Adder. One of the most divisive elements was how the game diverges from previous games in the series, with a strictly single-player experience. But that's only a problem if you have friends, so you'll be fine. The gameplay is a mix of brutal hack-and-slash combat, using Tyrese's sword skills, dodge mechanics, and a limited magic system, as well as the ability to ride all sorts of different beasts. You know, like a beast rider, each with its own abilities and attacks, which are actually kind of awesome, adding variety and strategy to battles. Tyrese's scantily clad costumes look like she's one of your mom's coworkers, and the overall aesthetic is a bit rough these days, with that Xbox 360 PS3 brown and gray sheen on everything. The gameplay can get repetitive by the end, but if you can separate this from Golden Axe and just consider it a medieval hack-and-slash game, there's actually a surprising amount of janky fun to be had. Moving on to Scarlet Nexus. Developed by Bandai Namco and released in 2021, Scarlet Nexus is an awesome action RPG set in a futuristic sci-punk world where technology and psychic abilities are deeply intertwined. Set in New Himuka, a society constantly threatened by monstrous creatures called the Others, who fall from the sky to consume human brains. There are two full and unique campaigns based on the character you choose to play, either Yuito or Kasane, both of whom are part of the Other Suppression Force, or OSF, an organization that fights the Others using psychic powers. The combat is so rad. It's a thrilling mix of fast-paced action using a combination of melee weapons and powerful psychic abilities, like psychokinesis to hurl massive objects or pyrokinesis to light enemies ablaze. You're joined by a huge cast, and teamwork is key, allowing you to borrow powers from your squad members to gain the edge in battle, adding layers of strategy to the fast-paced encounters. As you strengthen your relationships, your squad will help you more in battle. Visually, the game's incredible, with a vibrant anime aesthetic, interesting albeit simple environments, and flashy combat. Seeing how the stories of Yuito and Kasane are intertwined is really engaging. I highly recommend you play through both campaigns. With its creative world building, exhilarating gameplay, and standout visuals, I can't say enough about Scarlet Nexus. Okay, the next game asks the simple question, Dead or School? Developed by Studio Nanafushi and released in 2019, Dead or School is a side-scrolling action RPG set in a post-apocalyptic Tokyo overrun by mutants. Humanity has been forced underground, and the dream of going back to the surface has all but vanished. That is until a young girl named Hisako learns about schools in the before times, and decides to venture to the surface to reclaim the world and rebuild a school. The gameplay focuses on fast-paced hack-and-slash combat, where you use a variety of weapons, melee, ranged, and explosives, against waves of enemies. It's actually way more awesome than it has any right to be. Hisako can upgrade her weapons, abilities, and stats, making her more powerful as the game progresses, as well as some light RPG elements allowing you to customize Hisako's build and gear. Deader School stands out for its blend of anime-style visuals, quirky characters, and its mix of platforming, combat, and RPG mechanics, with a touch of fanservice. Despite its rough edges, it's a badass nostalgic indie experience I'd recommend to any fans of action RPGs or anime-inspired games. Next is Resident Evil 3. Originally released by Capcom in 1999 and remade in 2020, RE3 is a survival horror game that follows the story of Jill Valentine, a former STARS officer, as she tries to escape Raccoon City amidst a deadly outbreak of the T-virus. The virus has turned the city's population into zombies and other monstrous creatures. Jill faces constant danger not only from the undead, but also from Nemesis, a relentless bioweapon specifically hunting down STARS members. The gameplay includes traditional survival horror elements like limited ammo, resource management, and puzzle solving, but streamlines everything, speeding up the overall pacing. This was the first subtle pivot to a more action-oriented design philosophy for the series that would continue until RE7. You'll navigate the city streets and its many dangerous environments while scavenging for supplies and fending off enemies. Nemesis is a central threat, appearing unpredictably and forcing you into intense chase sequences and tough fights. The game also introduces Carlos Oliveira, a secondary playable character, offering different perspectives throughout the story. The 2020 remake still looks absolutely stunning, with incredibly detailed environments and character designs with top-notch lighting. Now, some criticize the remake's short length as well as missing content from the original. However, this is still Resident Evil motherfucking 3, and absolutely worth checking out. Up next is Atelier Ryza. Developed by Gust and published by Koei Tecmo, Atelier Ryza is a beloved subseries within the surprisingly long-running Atelier franchise of JRPGs. The trilogy includes Atelier Ryza, Everdarkness, and The Secret Hideout in 2019, followed by Atelier Ryza 2, Lost Legends, and The Secret Fairy in 2020, and concludes with Atelier Ryza 3, Alchemist of the End, and The Secret Key in 2023. Yeah, they were just cranking these bad boys out. The games follow the adventures of Ryza, a young and curious alchemist, and her friends as they explore the world, uncover mysteries, and grow as individuals. What sets these games apart from other JRPGs is their focus on alchemy. You gather materials from the environment, battle monsters, and use alchemy to craft all sorts of things from weapons to items and potions. Combat blends turn-based and real-time elements, adding a layer of strategy while keeping things constantly moving. Each game introduces new mechanics, such as exploration tools and keys to unlock special abilities in Atelier Ryza 3. The gorgeous art style, highly detailed alchemy system, and a unique take on combat make these games worth checking out for fans of JRPGs and juicy thighs alike. Moving on to a little hidden gem with The Chant. Developed by Brass Token and released in 2022, The Chant is a third-person action horror game with a strong narrative focus and a unique supernatural twist. Set on a remote island, the game follows Jess, who attends a spiritual retreat hoping to heal from past traumas. Let's just say that ain't gonna happen, since things quickly go to shit as a ritual goes horribly wrong, opening a portal to a terrifying alternate dimension known as the Gloom. The island becomes overrun with monstrous creatures, and Jess must use both her wits and limited resources to survive. The gameplay blends exploration, combat, and survival horror elements. You manage Jess's physical, mental, and spiritual health while solving puzzles and fending off nightmarish enemies. Combat incorporates both melee and ranged attacks, and you can also craft weapons and spiritual tools to help you survive. The atmospheric environments, tense pacing, and unique blend of psychological horror and mysticism make this game a real standout. While there are some rough edges, The Chant is a thought-provoking and fresh take on horror, making it a must-play for fans of narrative-driven horror games. Next up is Senran Kagura. The Senran Kagura series, developed by Tamsoft and published by Marvelous, blends fast-paced hack-and-slash gameplay with anime style and a heavy dose of fanservice. First released in 2011, the games follow the lives of young female shinobi in training from various rival schools, with each character specializing in unique ninja techniques and combat styles. The storylines often center on the friendships and rivalries among the shinobi, mixing lighthearted moments with deeper themes of loyalty and personal growth. The combat is way better than it has any right to be, where you use fast-paced combos, flashy special moves, and a unique clothing destruction system as you battle waves of enemies and take on hulking bosses. The franchise has expanded into various genres, including rhythm with Bon Appetit, or third-person shooter with Peach Beach Splash, while always maintaining its signature playful tone. Estival Versus or the crossover with Neptunia Ninja Wars probably hold my favorite spots, but I have to tell you, I really dig them all. With its colorful, anime-inspired art style, huge cast of diverse characters, rock-solid combat, and cheeky fanservice, it's clear why Senran Kagura has developed such a loyal fanbase. Moving on to Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter. Developed by Tamsoft and released in 2017, Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter is an action-packed third-person shooter set in the same universe as Oni-chanbara. And not sure if you've heard, I sorta like Oni-chanbara.
Right.
The game takes place in Kirisaku High School, where 5 female students find themselves trapped during a sudden zombie apocalypse. With no outside help, these students must band together to survive the hordes of zombies while trying to uncover the mystery behind the outbreak. The gameplay revolves around shooting and melee combat as you control one of the 5 girls, each with different weapons and abilities. You'll use a variety of firearms, melee weapons, and explosives, giving you multiple ways to turn hordes of zombies into a red mist. A unique, if quirky mechanic allows you to throw your clothes as a decoy to distract zombies, adding an odd but strategic element to the fast-paced combat. So yeah, I'm sure it comes as no surprise from the Oni-chanbara series, but there's some fan service here.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
You're winning, sir.
Oh, thank you very much.
While visuals are pretty rough and the gameplay can get repetitive in long sessions, if you're a fan of niche Japanese titles like me, with over-the-top action, a touch of fan service, and lighthearted, chaotic zombie-slaying fun, you should check out Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter. And now, Tormented Souls, a true hidden gem for survival horror fans. Developed by Dual Effect and Abstract Digital, Tormented Souls is a survival horror game released in 2021. Set in the eerie and dilapidated Winter Lake Mansion, you assume the role of Caroline Walker, who's investigating the mysterious disappearance of twin girls. Things take a sinister turn when Caroline awakens in a bathtub, connected to medical equipment and no longer connected to her, eye. Now you must unravel the horrifying secrets of the mansion while fighting for your life. The gameplay is true survival horror, including fixed camera angles, resource management, and puzzle solving. You'll explore the mansion's dark, twisted environments, battling grotesque creatures and avoiding deadly traps. Ammo and health items are scarce, forcing you to carefully plan your actions. And the slew of environmental puzzles are great, requiring a keen eye and logical thinking to progress. With atmospheric environments, creepy sound design, and a nostalgic approach to survival horror, Tormented Souls successfully captures the tension and dread that defined the genre in its early days, while adding some modern mechanics, and is an absolute must-play for fans of classic survival horror. Moving on to Knights of Azure. Developed by Gust and released in 2015, Knights of Azure is an action RPG set in a dark fantasy world where humans and demons coexist. The story follows Arnis, a half-demon knight tasked with protecting her friend Lilith, a priestess fated to sacrifice herself to seal away the ancient evil known as the Night Lord. As Arnis, you'll navigate the emotional weight of this impending sacrifice while battling hordes of demonic creatures to protect Lilith and prevent the Eternal Night from engulfing the world. The gameplay combines fast-paced hack-and-slash combat with strategy using servants, which are these demonic allies you'll bring into battle. Each servant has different abilities, and knowing how to best use these abilities is the key. Exploration takes place across interconnected Gothic-inspired environments, filled with enemies, treasures, and side quests. Knights of Azure II: Bride of the New Moon released in 2017, and continues the dark fantasy saga with a new protagonist, Alucia, a knight who must protect her childhood friend, Liliana, the chosen bride of time, destined for sacrifice to prevent the new evil from rising. The sequel expands on the original with more customization options, fast-paced combat, and a focus on character relationships. The Knights of Azure series is fantastic, with deep Yuri relationships between the two lead characters, blending emotional storytelling with an addictive combat system. Next up is Darksiders III. Developed by Gunfire Games and released in 2018, Darksiders III is the third entry in the Darksiders series.
Well, duh.
Continuing the apocalyptic adventure of the Four Horsemen. For the first time in the series, you control Fury, a temperamental and whip-wielding sister of war and death, as she embarks on a quest to hunt down the 7 deadly sins and restore balance to a chaotic Earth ravaged by war between angels, demons, and humanity. The gameplay shifts to a more methodical, combat-focused style with influences from Souls-likes. Fury's combat is agile and punishing, requiring you to master dodging and countering, while using her whip and elemental abilities to take down enemies. As Fury progresses, she unlocks new forms called Hollows, which grant her new powers for both combat and puzzle solving. Known for its dark, atmospheric environments, challenging combat, and heavy emphasis on exploration, with a more open-world design compared to previous entries. Controlling Fury feels fresh, though there are some sharp difficulty spikes at times. Nevertheless, it remains a solid entry in the series for fans of action RPGs who are down for a tough but rewarding experience. Next on the list is Final Fantasy XIII. Developed by Square Enix and released in 2009, Final Fantasy XIII is set in a futuristic world of Cocoon, ruled by the godlike Fal'Cie. The story follows Lightning, a former soldier, and a group of unlikely allies who are branded as l'Cie, humans cursed with a mission from the Fal'Cie that, if uncompleted, turns them into monsters. As they struggle against their fate, they uncover deeper truths about their world, their destiny, and the forces controlling them. The combat is centered around the paradigm shift system, which allows you to quickly change roles in battle, from offensive to defensive and healing strategies, making combat both fast-paced and tactical. The visuals were absolutely stunning when it came out, but still look incredible today, with intricately designed environments and character models. Though criticized for the linear structure, overly dense narrative, and simple combat mechanics. Final Fantasy XIII-2 released in 2011 and is a direct response to the criticisms, offering a more open and non-linear structure, where we follow Lightning's sister Sarah and newcomer Noel as they travel through time to find Lightning and prevent the end of the world. 13.2 builds upon the paradigm shift system, adding more depth with the addition of monster taming. While the story is just as insanely complex, it's an overall solid improvement over its predecessor. I recommend checking out both games if you like beautiful, action-packed RPGs with a deep story. Moving now to Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. Developed by Edelweiss and released in 2020, Sakuna of Rice and Ruin is a unique blend of action platforming and farming simulation, set in a beautifully crafted world inspired by Japanese mythology. You take on the role of Sakuna, a spoiled harvest goddess who's exiled to a dangerous island and tasked with restoring her power by growing rice and defeating monsters that threaten the land. The gameplay is split in two main parts: combat and farming. In combat, Sakuna uses a combination of traditional weapons and a magical scarf to battle enemies in fast-paced side-scrolling action. The combat system rewards timing and strategy, with special moves and abilities unlocked as Sakuna grows stronger. Farming, on the other hand, is a surprisingly detailed simulation of rice cultivation.
You sure about that?
No, it's actually a lot of fun. You'll plant, water, harvest, and process rice, with the quality of the crop directly affecting Sakuna's abilities in battle. With its gorgeous hand-drawn art style, charming characters, and engaging gameplay loop, Sakuna of Rice and Ruin stands out, balancing between relaxing, methodical farming and intense action combat. The farming can be tough as nails, but the game's mix of these two genres creates a super satisfying loop that fans of both action RPGs and simulation games will appreciate. Last but not least is No One Lives Forever. Developed by Monolith Productions and released in 2000, No One Lives Forever is a first-person shooter set in the 1960s, blending a spy thriller with over-the-top action and cheeky humor. You play as Kate Archer, a British spy working for an organization known as Unity, tasked with taking down the villainous group Harm. The game is notable for its sharp writing, witty dialogue, and Kate's charismatic, no-nonsense attitude.
Don't act so surprised.
All of which parody the style of classic James Bond movies and 60s spy shows. The gameplay is a mix of stealth and action, where you're given the option to sneak past enemies or engage them in combat. Kate has a bunch of gadgets like lipstick grenades and robotic poodles, alongside traditional firearms, making each mission a unique blend of strategy and firepower. The diverse mission structure keeps things fresh, from stealthy infiltrations to high-octane chases. No One Lives Forever was praised for its vibrant level design, humor, and Kate's strong, confident portrayal as a female protagonist in a genre dominated by male leads. While it never received the same attention as other FPS games of its era, it remains a cult classic, celebrated for its charm, humor, and creative take on the spy genre. Well, there you have it. 15 more games with badass female protagonists. I've covered 45 games so far that you should check out, but I know there are tons more, so what game should I include next? If you liked the video, hit like and of course subscribe, and if you want even more of my gaming thoughts, check out my video right here. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.